Preview of the Celebration Bowl. Jackson State. Are they going against South Carolina State from the MEAC?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
they're going against South Carolina State.
The Battle of the States, if you will. So Jackson State, South Carolina State. I think Jackson State's favorite big. I think they'll win big, but I want you to bless us all with an in-depth preview, if you can, only whether you could do it on this Celebration Bowl, which would be what time? I know it's be on ESPN, right?
It'll be Saturday the 18th, noon.
Okay.
And my God, let
18th.
me go ahead and say that. Yeah, Saturday the 18th. Let me go ahead and say this now, because I think we may have touched on it a little bit when this particular tournament was first announced. The HBCU Dream Tournament. Well, I can't remember what it's exactly called. That one Michael B. Jordan is holding in Brooklyn.
Okay.
That exact same day.
Okay.
It's also being played the exact same time as the Celebration Bowl. So yeah, the Celebration Bowl itself starts at noon. The basketball games start at 1.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out who was the genius that made that decision when they knew that what is considered to be the HBCU national title game is being played at the exact same time. Dude, they should have made some sort of concessions to try to, if not hold it on a different day, hold it at least at a different time. I understand there's going to be two games played, but my God, you're forcing HBCU fans to go ahead and potentially split their time like that. But it is what it is, bruh. I'm hoping for success for that game.
Sure.
All I know is I'm going to be in Atlanta covering the Celebration Bowl, and I'm wondering what type of HBCU media is going to be at that game.
We want videos.
Short
videos.
We most definitely would get them. But yeah, I can't give you so much of a preview.
Well, obviously, yeah.
You know, I'm doing my full preview next week for Hero Sports.
Yes.
But I can go ahead and at least give you a snippet of a preview.
A little taste.
I'll give you a small taste, give you a little taste before the full thing comes out next week. But it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I'm a little disappointed because I wish I would have known prior to, because I would have set my flight up to Atlanta to be earlier than what it's going to be, because I'm going to miss the presser on Thursday. And my God, it's going to be the most entertaining press conference for the Celebration Bowl in Celebration Bowl history, if you're asking me, because of the fact that we have the entertainer in Coach Deion Sanders for Jackson State. And my God, you got the old school uncle and Coach Buddy Pugh of South Carolina State.
That's the old school name, by the way, Buddy Pugh. That's the old school.
Yes, right.
That screams
sounds
old
like
school.
your old school uncle, right? You know, I've seen videos of him earlier this year playing spades. But every Monday, there were 3 people who I look to see or have great quotes come from. Actually, I take it back 2. Because even with that third being Connell Maynor of Alabama A&M, if they suffered the loss, he wasn't as jovial. But win, lose, or draw, Deion Sanders and Buddy Pugh was going to give you a quotable for that day, and I was going to end up smiling by the end of their press conference.
Makes your job easier and more fun.
Makes it that much more fun and that much more enjoyable. Not to say that the other coaches aren't great to hear, because I love the passion that a lot of the other coaches, especially the likes of Larry Scott of Howard, Tyron Wheatley over there, Morgan State, my man Rod Milstead at Delaware State, Dawson Odoms over at Norfolk State, hearing Eric Dooley, who is now with Southern. I'll get to that in just a moment. Formerly of Prairie View A&M, and just listen to those other coaches. My man over at Dancy over at Mississippi Valley State.
Okay.
Just listen to those coaches throughout the year with the passion that they have for their institutions and their players. But my God, the comedy of Pugh and Sanders is going to be hilarious coming up next Thursday.
I know that's right.
Yeah, so you're going to have these two organizations that are set up slightly differently, where of course South Carolina State has the history of the defense with such players as Javon Hargraves of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
And
Darius Leonard, right?
And Darius Leonard of the Indianapolis Colts, both formerly playing at South Carolina State under Buddy Pugh recently. And they also have Jacoby Durant, a safety there at South Carolina State that a lot of people are looking to as being the next defensive standout to go pro from that program.
Nice.
And then, of course, you have that extremely stout and talented defense of Jackson State that is ranked in the top 3, if not top 2, in the major defensive statistical categories in FCS football, led by the likes of James Houston and Aubrey Miller. That defense is extremely stout as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these two defenses play. And then, of course, the offenses with Shedeur Sanders, of course, Coach Sanders, his son, leading JSU. And then Corey Fields Jr. over at South Carolina State, who's a dual threat QB as well. Well, not as well, but a dual threat QB over there for the Bulldogs. That's going to be interesting to see how that Jackson State defense handles both him and that running back Kendrell Flowers too. But you talk about Shedeur, and that's one of the things that has been kind of like an inconsistent situation with Jackson State throughout the entire year. There have been games where he's been excellent, but there have been games just like this past weekend against Prairie View A&M. And shout out to Prairie View A&M, because a lot of people didn't realize that defense was that good. They actually held Shedeur to under 90 yards passing. But at the same time, Jackson State held Javon Pass to under 90 yards passing too. So both of the defense did great jobs. It just happened to be, unfortunately, with Prairie View A&M, they gave up 5 turnovers in that championship game that led to them getting defeated 27-10 this past week. And that's something, of course, that no team can deal with, turning the ball over 5 times and winning. Right. So that's something, of
pretty
course,
hard to do that. Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to do, especially when you're giving your defense, when you're giving them short fields to try to convert. So those are the things that I want to go ahead and say that South Carolina State is going to have to make sure they keep an eye out for is, one, can they generate a run game against Jackson State? 2, try to mitigate the turnovers so they don't end up having short fields for their defense. And then 3, try to keep that Jackson State offense in check, because at times Jackson State seems to do it to themselves. But if you can go ahead and play well enough to keep them off the field, and you're moving the ball as well, that'll be wonderful for them. But one of the issues, especially outside of playing conference opponents this year, especially in the FBS or the FCS level, South Carolina State has given up an average of a little bit over 35 points per game against FCS opponents outside of the MEAC this year. And 2 of those times were against SWAC teams, and they give up 42 points to those teams too. So I know the South Carolina State faithful are going to hope that they get the defense from the Bulldogs from the latter half of the season, as opposed to early on this season, to compete against this very, very tough Jackson State team.
Yeah. It's going to be a very entertaining game. I'm looking forward to it. So it's December 18th. I thought it was this weekend. It's the 18th.
Yes, sir. It's December the 18th.
On ESPN or ESPN2?
On ABC.
Oh, ABC. That's even better. Okay, ABC.
It's going to be on ABC. Cool. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Appreciate that.